everyone, and welcome to Couch Potato Queens. This is episode 2. My name is Sam Meier.
And my name is Josh Mendelson.
We will be your hosts for this evening, and we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled, to have one of our favorite neighborhood gays on tonight. Josh, what would you say about our guest this evening?
I would say that our guest is fabulous, fantastic, and may love Survivor more than me, which is hard.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot, girl. It's a lot.
But with no further ado, we are going to bring on friendly neighborhood gay, Doug. Hey, Doug. How are you?
Hi, ladies. How are
Hello.
you?
I love how we all sort of have like a similar color palette going on.
You know what I'm thinking? You were in red. I'm blue. He's white. We're doing Can I, Amir? I can, everybody.
Oh, God.
I feel like this is more of like a magenta.
Okay,
we've got like a purple and like a magenta and a blue.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just like a very interesting color palette. So, tonight, my queens, we are going to be talking about season 1 Borneo episodes 3 and 4, which were some fun episodes. We're still in this Survivor early stages. They're sort of figuring out what the show is about. So we start on the beach. Let's talk about Tagi first. So Tagi has not gotten any fish. Stacy is ranting about Rudy. I think that's a real favorite for you. I know, Josh.
All I know is that all Stacy did and all she's known for is ranting about Rudy. I counted 6 times over a course of 3 episodes that Stacy mentioned how she wanted to get Rudy out.
Which is a lot because these players in these early seasons do not get a lot of anything going on. We don't.
Yeah, they barely talk about each other much at all unless there's a good reason to. And there's definitely some real hatred that's coming from Stacy. She just does not having any of Rudy.
All I was thinking was, why are you so obsessed with me? That's what I was thinking.
I got from Stacy, I got a young Greta Van Susteren on Fox News, talking about the evil in the world. I don't know. People just she's going after it. So also we have in one of my favorite moments, we get Dirk. We get Abs for Jesus, God. Slim Shady for Christ. Kelly thinks he's deeply sexually frustrated. And Dirk thinks Richard talks about gay sex too much.
That's because he's really obsessed with his Bible and he thought this was some missionary challenge. I think he was going on there for a religious journey, maybe for something with his dairy farming. I don't know. Maybe he forgot that it's Survivor.
I am Sue this entire time. She's just I went to church, I put in my time, can we be done with this? And just completely done with Dirk and his religious act and his sexual frustration. Because let's be honest, that is entirely what's going on here. And then he starts putting it on Kelly, doesn't he, at this point too? Right after he's preaching.
Oh, he's just on everyone. He just talks about everyone. And it's girl, what are you doing? Dirk, get it together.
Kelly's letting him have it a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much, but not fully. She's he's still a virgin. I'm definitely not. Let's watch a video of my husband or boyfriend.
Yeah.
Okay?
So
I want to know what Dirk thinks of Kelly's back tattoo. I feel that should be in part of the confessional because...
She's going straight to hell.
Right?
She can't be buried in a Jewish cemetery.
She stood for that tattoo, actually, because it is fucking hideous, if we're being completely honest.
It's very circa 2000 when this show was
I don't know what's tackier, that tattoo or the sunglasses that she wears on her head, but everybody's just wearing awful sunglasses, I seem to notice. The early 2000s was a very bad era of hideous sportswear sunglasses.
Absolutely horrifying.
Hideous pink bikinis.
I don't know that I've ever truly paid attention to Kelly's back tattoo though. What is her back tattoo?
It's very large. You'll notice it next time, I bet.
Is it a tramp stamp?
Yes. It's very large though. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So next though, one of my favorite parts of Borneo, I think on the rewatch, it's just really sticking out to me, but we get to Pagong. and they have their erotic mud volcano.
Oh, yeah.
So a few of them find just like a weird bubbling pit of mud in the middle of the jungle, and they decide to hop in. They're like mud wrestling, they're all rubbing on each other, and then they're like, do you know what would be better than 3 of us in a mud volcano? Would be our entire tribe in a mud volcano. So all of Pagong, except for BB, hops into the mud and is just like slip and sliding on top of each other. Please discuss.
I love it.
BB was doing it though. I know we discussed BB in the last episode, but BB though was too busy with his like 20-something-year-old wife with his 67.
Oh my god. They did not talk. Okay, I know that BB's gone, but they did not talk about that enough. They just like subtly just dropped that he had that like young wife and then never talked about it again. I need follow-up. Is that still a thing? Can we like see where BB's at now? Is that who is this woman? I need to know.
BB's dead. Dead!
Well,
he died!
R.I.P.
No
BB.
longer here.
R.I.P. BB.
I mean, famously, BB's nickname on the show was Viagra. So, I mean, I guess that's what happens when you have an erection that lasts longer than 4 hours. Or BB. Decades, perhaps. I mean, we don't know, but... Okay, so after our erotic mud volcano, though, we get to our first reward challenge. So I thought it was really funny. You see, like, the distinct difference between these 2 tribes as they approach the challenge. So Tagi is just sort of like resolutely marching in. You know, they've been out here for a few days now. They're feeling very hardened. And Pagong, Josh, how would you describe how Pagong enters?
Pagong, with their conga line. Yeah, they're coming in. Tagi's coming in like, we're just here. Sue's with the Sue line, like, we're just here for, we're hardcore. We're Tagi Ford it. And then Pagong is, we're just here because it's camp life. Let us conga in. Even Gretchen's part of the fun party.
Absolutely. So the rules for this challenge are we're going to dive down for a treasure chest, and they have to all bring this treasure chest, the submerged heavy trunk, back to the beach to win the reward. So what did y'all think about how this reward challenge went down? Tagi starts in the lead and they dominate. But like, did anything in particular stand out to you?
Okay, one thing in particular definitely stood out to me, and that was the fact, I don't know if you guys caught this, but for some reason, they gave Jervis a life preserver. He was the only one out there. Like, they were like, okay, Jervis, we realize that you can't swim, so we're going to give you a life preserver, and you can just float there while the rest of your tribe does things. I think Ramona might have been on the life preserver too, but I was like, are you kidding me? That, like, did he just like raise his hand and be like, I need that, please. Can I, I'm not going to actually swim. I'm just going to float here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And Jeff is going to allow that? Like, could you imagine that, like, now current day, Jeff would be like, no, absolutely not.
It's okay, because Jervis, from the beginning, and this is the first proof of it, was living rent-free. So good for him. Jervis can do whatever he wants, girl.
God. I was just like, just seeing him just like hugging on to that. I mean, that would also be me because I hate swimming in general and I'm not the best swimmer. So, I mean, if that was an option, that'd be great. But I was just so impressed that they just accommodated to that request. It was amazing. That was my...
Yeah. No, I think...
And you had bull tribes, different approaches. I mean, like, Tagi has all the strong members. They got Sue, which is a beast. You have all the strong men. Richard's strong as hell. And then on Pagong, you have all these like light little, petite people. So like, obviously strength is going to win over on this challenge. There's no question. It was obvious Tagi was going to win.
Mm-hmm. So then as we said, Tagi wins. They dominate this challenge. We get back to the beach. And Dr. Sean is back out with the Super Pole 2000. So here we get our first, though, one of the rewards was a fishing spear for Richard from this challenge. And so we get Super Pole 2000 versus Richard's spear. And as we all know, what Dr. Sean refers to as a big gay dude with a spear coming out of the water, ends up getting a lot of very tasty cuttlefish, it looks like.
Yeah, Richard was just like working it with that spear. And can I say, this is the weird thing, is back in the year 2000, Richard was seen as like this big fat hairy man, but maybe it's because I'm 32 now. I actually somewhat find him attractive.
He's cute.
He is daddy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working it for Richard. Like, if Richard came over here, I wouldn't turn it down. Like, I'd do that. Maybe it's part of being 32, but I was like, yeah, he's working it in that spirit right now. I'm down, daddy. Okay.
I just love that whole montage. It was very like gay athleticism and him getting those fish. It was like, ooh, wow, look at that.
Ooh,
he's going to work.
He's working. He had that knife in his. He had like the knife in his. I was like, okay, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's work.
So Pagong, on the other hand, is like way too excited to eat rat. Like, they are jazzed to eat rat. And like, even Ramona, who was, and I quote, "As poor as we get in the ghetto, we don't ever eat the rats." And Ramona and Jervis became some of the biggest fans of rat as they're roasted over the fire. But I mean, how do y'all feel? Would y'all be excited to eat rat ever?
I've eaten squirrel.
Okay.
I had
That's
some
fair.
squirrel, so maybe I'll have some rat too. Whatever. If I was that fucking starving, I would do it.
I would probably eat rat. But I don't know if I'd have the same reaction as Jervis that brought this wonderful quote when he said, "It's on to the break of dawn, like hot buttered popcorn." And somehow he made that rhyme. I don't remember why. It like sounded like a rhyme when he said it in how he was speaking. But it's on to the break of dawn, like hot buttered popcorn. I've never heard that before, but I appreciated it. That was directly after he had his first bite of rat. So he was there and living for it.
And I appreciate Jervis for eating that rat and making it sound like popcorn. Okay.
Yeah. He did it.
Okay. I mean, so
it's a big deal.
It
This
is a big
the moment
deal.
I started watching actually Survivor was that I heard them talking on the radio about people eating rat on live television. I'm like, this sounds so cool. And then they vote each other off. This sounds even better.
This is where it all started. So then we move on to tree mail. We find out that they need to build a stretcher before the immunity challenge. They start practicing. Colleen is fully strapped in, head and all. We find out that the challenge is they're going to be recovering their teammate that they've chosen from a plane wreck. And that, so we see them, they're running through the woods. Their person that they chose is hanging from a parachute from the trees. They need to get their person down, strap them to the stretcher, and then run through the woods to the finish line. We get sort of more of this like very early stages, like earthy survival theme to the challenges. They're not all Survivor branded yet. And Pagong wins this challenge by a pretty hefty margin. Did either of you have any thoughts on how the challenge went down? I felt like it was pretty cut and dried. There was nothing super extraordinary about it.
I liked the setup though. I like that they like had to build something on camp beforehand and then take it. I also thought that the tree mail was weird and like the way that they read it and like after every sentence they had to say the word stop. Do you guys remember when they were like
well, because it was like a telegram.
It was so weird. I don't know. I was very confused by that. I didn't. I was like, why are they yelling stop after every sentence? Like, why is that there? But otherwise, I thought the challenge was great.
Like historically makes sense. Like, oh, it's like an old timey telegram where they had to put stop instead of a period. But their execution was weird. The execution was weird.
It's part of what we call the episode 3, let's try it, never do it again type thing, which we'll get more into that later into the episode.
We sure will.
But honestly, with the challenge, one thing I need to call out was the bird calls. Anyone here in the back? People are like, Pagong! Pagong! I'm like, is that Greg or a parrot? Or Iago?
I have no idea.
Since when did Iago fly into Survivor Borneo?
Exactly. So, like I said, Pagong wins by a good margin. Tagi's going to tribal. It's early on, so we're really not. If strategy is going on, we're not seeing a lot of it in the edit.
We are seeing a little bit. We are seeing.
A little bit. We're getting the Rudy v. Stacy.
Yeah, I was saying the tribe is going well, but I really want Rudy out. The tribe is going good, but I can't even stay here another minute unless Rudy is gone. Stacy.
Well, they cut to Richard too, and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of wanted to talk to the group before we voted, but that didn't fly. Like he wanted to actually have a discussion, and then it just didn't happen." So.
Totally. So we get to tribal, and we try one of my favorite failures of all time, the conch shell of truth, where Jeff wants to pass around a big old conch shell, and everyone apparently that's their moment to share their truth that they might not say anywhere else. And nothing happens with it. Absolutely nothing happens. Then it also, we get an incredibly violent rain thunderstorm happening. We have the early paper that they used was very thin, so that's getting soaked through like wet toilet paper. I mean, it's not cute. The ink is running. Jeff can barely read the votes. And before we announce the final vote, what do y'all think about the conch shell, the rain? I mean, how do y'all feel about how this tribal went down?
I think it was just a straight up disaster. I think it was let's try something new for Mark Burnett, because this is before Jeff Probst took over. This is just Mark. He's in his Australian accent. He's well, I think we should try something. I can't even do it, but he thinks we should try something else. So we're going to try this conch shell because we just want to give it to Richard so he'll hang on to it with his spirit the entire time, so he'll talk. And then Sue can steal it away and start calling out everyone that she hates. So there you go.
Yeah, that was just a whole fail. And you can tell that Jeff just was okay, we need to wrap this up. I'm cold. I don't like this rain.
Torrential downpours.
Oh, so in the final vote, we get 2 votes for Rudy, but ultimately 5 votes go to Stacy. And then in just a few more brilliant movements in this episode, because it's not over yet, Jeff puts the cover on an already extinguished torch. Okay, Stacy's torch is fully extinguished by the rain, and Jeff still does the motion. And then he invites the tribe, to stay at the tribal council building because the storm is so bad. And they had, as we explained in the last episode, such a huge hike to get to tribal that it was dangerous for them to go back to camp.
I know. And that snuffer, I mean, he tried it, and the snuffer somewhat worked. It didn't because it was already out. But can I just mention for that episode, Sue was also the one who was telling Stacy and Kelly, yeah, I'm gonna vote out Rudy because Stacy, you're basically holding a gun to my head and saying vote for Rudy. But too bad, I'm voting you out. So
Doug, how'd you feel about how tribal went down?
It was interesting. I definitely thought that, I don't know, we didn't really get much of Stacy. I didn't really feel like there was much of that at all. She didn't get any real arc or anything. So I don't know, it was boring. I was just okay, let's move on. I'm done.
Yeah, no, totally feel that. Okay, so and then also we need to bring up for this episode specifically, though, based on Stacy's exit, there is a lawsuit in play.
Some tea, honey.
There's some tea.
Wait,
insider
what?
information.
So here's some secret tea with the couch potato queens, okay? So Stacy apparently sued CBS because apparently Mark Burnett and the producers went to Dirk and Sean and told them to vote for Stacy because they didn't want Rudy out. So apparently Rudy was supposed to be the target, but production apparently, I don't know if this is
allegedly.
Sorry, this is Josh, his horrible vocab. Welcome to it, guys. That's how I am. Allegedly, they went to them and told them to vote for Stacy instead because they had voted out all the older people, BB and Sonia, and they didn't want Rudy to go. They wanted Rudy to be, the hero of the show. So that's what happened.
I did not know that little bit of insider information, so I'm glad to be here, and I'm more knowledgeable now. It's juicy.
Yeah, very juicy.
It's the tea, honey.
It's the tea, honey. So now we're on to episode 4. We open with life at the beach again. Sue is talking about how she's got to find tapiocas. She's
Can
all
I just
about
pause for that for a second? Because this isn't the first time we've heard about tapioca. I don't know where I thought tapioca came from before, but I never knew that you could find it in the wild. I don't know what I thought it was. I had no idea that was a thing.
I mean, I assumed the tapioca had to come from somewhere, but I guess I just sort of thought it was like a weird chemical they made up in the 50s, like Jell-O. You know,
Yes,
like I know Jell-O comes
yes.
from algae or something like that, but like, you know, like it's just
if I had to guess, it would be something like that for sure.
Yeah.
I did not know that you could go searching for tapioca.
Yeah.
You gotta find that tapioca, everybody.
Gotta find the tapioca.
Trouble.
Pagong, Gretchen has stepped up in a big way with BB gone. She is calling the shots at camp, which is cool to see. Greg, also we get a little spotlight on Greg and his nature phone, which is like a coconut. It's some sort of like husky deal that he just talks into. Doug, you rolled your eyes.
I don't know. I haven't made up my mind on Greg yet because he is just girl, I get that you're trying here, but this is odd. Like that somebody needs to intervene. I would have been like, Greg, cut the phone thing. Like we tried it. You're still gonna do this. Why?
Greg, this is your intervention.
We all know who Greg is. We know that archetype, though. We know him. He is that type that went to Harvard, probably bisexual, probably hooked up with dudes, like, you know, does a lot of like acid and hallucinatory drugs. Like, we know that's who Greg is. So like, let's break it down and get real. Like, we know that's what we're gonna get. So.
Yep. That's very true. So then we have a reward challenge, and the task that they are that is put before them is they need to make a visible display on the beach for a plane flying by. So I think what we learn through the process of this reward challenge and seeing the teams interact is that everyone is horny. Everyone is horny. Colleen literally calls it out. She's like, everyone is horny here. Dr. Sean and Dirk.
She's just looking for an opportunity to just
we all know who it's with too, everybody.
Yeah, we do. So as we know, Greg and Colleen have been nesting together in the woods. Dr. Sean and Dirk are being like little incels together. Like they're like very upset that everyone wants to have sexy fun time without them. Kelly wants to make their display out of a bunch of condoms.
So does Survivor provide them with condoms?
They do provide them with condoms.
Oh my!
And Kelly also recommended that they be different colored. So Survivor was making sure that they gave them colorful, like they just give them a box of condoms.
Glow in the dark, maybe?
Do you think that Survivor, going with the times, also provides them with lube and lube and poppers? Come on, they need to poppers.
Yeah.
Survivors, everybody.
I don't know about the poppers, but would they? Well, further question: would they be buff branded?
Oh God!
Could you imagine his condoms by Buff, and they've just like never had the opportunity to do that? Like, could you imagine if no one has ever had sex on Survivor before, or taken advantage of these condoms, or do they not film or like reference it? Like, what's the tea?
I have a lot of questions about the condoms, and I don't think they're ever going to be answered. But yes, it's very interesting.
Deeply intriguing. So after that, we get as they're still preparing for this challenge, we get a dramatic Ramona sequence about her being on her own. She's like a shadowy profile in the sunset. But she bounces back the next day. We've been getting a lot of Ramona dialogue happening. Anyone have anything to say about Ramona's storyline at this point?
You know who I think does is Jenna Lewis. Jenna Lewis has a lot to say about Ramona, how she loves her and she's great, and she's just a little too little, 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 too late.
It's very true. So Pagan gives us a giant smiley face on their beach, which seems like a terrible idea for telling someone that you need to get rescued. Toggy spells out Toggy is groggy, which is also not great, but they make a little ring and they all put on their the yellow rain slickers that we have not talked about yet, but that Survivor provided them with for this first season, which seems
very
strange.
Nice.
Yeah,
they look very nice of them.
Nice.
Can I just say they should have written out Toggy is horny? Is that that's what they should have written out? And Kelly Whittle's words should have been behind that.
But also they gave them
or
rain
in front
jackets. why weren't they allowed to wear them during tribal council when it was a downpour? Like, so you're going to give them these raid jackets to wear, but not at tribal when
You know what?
you definitely need it.
I think they gave it to them after that downpour. I think they gave them jackets after episode 3. I think.
Oh. Okay, that would make sense.
That would make sense.
So turns out the ring of humans making like sand angels, like the way you would make a snow angel, the movement plus the large display puts Tagi over the edge. They win reward. And then we get like a little bit more time hanging out at the beach. So Rudy refuses to. Their reward is they get a care package dropped from the plane onto their beach. It's got some great, just like general camp stuff inside. They use the parachute to make a like shady area for themselves. Yep. But we're on the beach. Rudy is refusing to strategize. And Richard, we begin to see the start of the Tagi 4. Richard starts making those preliminary alliances with Sue and Kelly. And then at Pagong, we're back into the Ramona discourse. I mean, say what you will, but Mama gets airtime.
Right. So let's talk about that Tagi 4 alliance right now, because
we finally get an alliance. I think it's the first time they talk about alliance and strategy at all.
Episode 4.
Yeah. Exactly. This is the first alliance ever in Survivor history, the Tagi 4, which was started by Sue and Richard. That's who starts it. And actually, watching this show back for the first time, I give Sue way more credit than I did the first time. Sue is playing the game hard, and she's really the one who started it with Richard. Mm-hmm. And then Sue brought in Kelly. Richard brought in Rudy. But if it wasn't for Sue, Hawk, and Richard Hatch, Survivor would not be what it is today.
Yeah, I agree with you, Josh.
The interesting part of that alliance, though, is bringing in Kelly, because Kelly hates Rudy. So, like, how did she switch to now being in that alliance so quickly? And now it's like, you know what?
But I think it's Sue and Kelly is like the duo, and Richard and Rudy are like the other couple that sort of bring that. And then Richard and Sue have that link, so they're like both bringing in their extra person.
Exactly.
I just found it odd that like Kelly was so anti-Rudy, and I was like, I guess I'll
100%, absolutely.
It's definitely one of the best alliances of all time, in my opinion. But it's also, and we'll get to this in later episodes, one of the most dysfunctional alliances of all time as well. But it works, and this is fun to watch it start for sure.
Totally.
Now, you were talking about Pagong as well with Ramona.
Yep.
And Ramona is just living her life now. First couple episodes, she looked like she was going to die. But now she's back up in action and ready to go. She's doing good.
She is, absolutely. So we get to the immunity challenge. It is a relay race. So first part of the team has to paddle out to grab a bottle in the ocean. Next part of the team has to open the bottle at the beach for a map. They must then send a member to retrieve a key from the woods, and then they have to dig up a treasure chest based on the map at the same time that their runner is out. So Tagi leads from the start, as per usual. No surprises there. Richard goes so far as to break the bottle open, like shatter the bottle. Rudy clearly knows how to handle a box. And at the end of this, Pagong is pagoing to tribal again. So let's talk about the challenge, though, because it seems like Jervis kind of takes like a break from running in the woods.
Jervis, again, living rent-free, which is a normal quality in how Jervis is going to be the entire season. Literally was just like, I'm going to take a break, drink some water, cook a 7-course meal, just let them win, basically, and just chill. And because I'm not going to go. He knows he's not going to go home anyways, so why even try, Jervis?
I love Jervis, for the record. He's my favorite. I also have a huge crush on Jervis because he's very sexy. But living rent-free is such a great description, as evidenced by whenever they do one of his confessionals and he's just laying on the boat in his life jacket, because he can't be on a boat without a life jacket. But whenever they cut to him, he's just laying there casually talking in his life jacket, just laid back, talking about things. I don't know. I'm always here for Jervis.
And I think what's really funny about this is that, considering the time that this was shot as well, I think they were trying to deliver to a degree like this lazy black person storyline. But Jervis is so charming. I think, honestly, he's one of the best players. He's not doing anything. He is eating. He is like having the time of his life. And when he messes up, he blames it on someone else. And the tribe goes along. I mean, it's incredible gameplay.
I agree so much. I think Jervis is probably one of the best players in the game, no question. Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the things about editing, that it's a little outdated, because I think that if the show was on today, he would be edited as a king, because he really is over on the Pagong tribe. He is playing so well right now.
And it's, it's like his weakness in the other areas is just made up for by such a strong social game. And I mean, there's a factor there that you just can't really quantify. You can't like force yourself to be that charming. He just is that charming that he's able to dominate socially. But you would see more, I think, emphasis behind that in a more modern season. So Pagong is going to tribal again. Jenna and Colleen seem to be targets going in. Pagong is doing a weird face paint deal still before tribal. It might be erotic mud volcano.
Having their orgies at the mud volcano daily.
I know. It's like, it's weird though. It's weird. It's kind of cultural appropriation-y. It's uncomfortable. But they're talking about, if anyone feels invincible in tribal. Jervis boldly raises his hand, which would be a death sentence in a modern season. But Jervis is just like consistently feeling that he can't go home. And ultimately we see Ramona go with a vote of kind of a little bit of a scattered vote. 4 votes Ramona. No, that was my Wisconsin coming out.
That was your Sioux coming out, honey.
My Sioux coming out, Hanny.
Oh yeah.
4 votes Ramona, 2 votes Colleen, 1 vote Jenna. How do we feel about how tribal went down?
I was surprised that there wasn't any Gretchen votes. I felt like Gretchen's kind of been on the outs a little bit, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't try to go after her a little bit, because it didn't seem like she really has anybody on the tribe right now. But yeah, and I was wondering, was it Colleen because she was swimming bad, or like what was really the votes on Colleen? Where'd those come from?
Good question.
Josh, you're usually good at that.
Yeah, so Colleen, I think, was targeted because she was the quote-unquote weakest on the tribe, and some of the people saw her as that. But I disagree on Gretchen. I think Gretchen also is in a really good spot right now, because she got herself close with everyone on the tribe, specifically Greg. She has a closeness with Jenna as well. She really has gotten herself in. Everyone really respects her as kind of like the elder on the tribe, when she's like 8 years older than me, so she's not that much of an elder. But she's
okay, maybe it was just me that was annoyed with Gretchen. I just felt like if I was on that island, I'd be like, Gretchen, you're annoying. Maybe everybody else didn't feel that way. It was one of just.
I really like her. I respect Gretchen. I think Gretchen's playing a good game. I don't think she'd ever be a target. Any reason.
So at this point, I think, since there were not really any notable features of this tribal, I think it's time to get into our episode summary, tops, bottoms, and hot messes. Hanny. So Josh, why don't you actually, Doug, you are our guest. Guests first. Doug, who was your top player for these 2 episodes?
Okay, well, as for the entire season, top is Jervis and the bottom is me. But I mean, sorry. I guess I'll answer that honestly. I just wish. But the top, I think, for these 2 episodes especially, and Josh, you touched on this, I think it's Sue. I think she's really playing a very strong game. And I think that Richard is kind of rubbing some feathers a little bit, but Sue is just like kind of in on everything, and she's not being seen as like the lead big threat, but she's in this now alliance, and she has, some leverage there. So I think, and she's got that nice little connection with Kelly, and is able to obviously persuade Kelly's opinion even of Rudy. So my top is Sue.
Wonderful. So, Josh, who is your top player for the episode?
My dom top for the episode is Daddy Richard.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the reason is, similar to Sue, he's really leading the pack right now. He's cocky, as he's been since episode 1. He knows he's doing well. He's also fishing and providing and making bonds with that. He has Rudy, who is the biggest homophobic contestant ever in history, wanting to work with him, calling him daddy, basically. Richard is playing a really good game at this point. So my choice is Richard.
I think that's great. I actually, Doug, you're going to hate me. My top vote for this episode was Gretchen. I think she is Pagong's only saving grace. We've seen a tribe that is like dysfunctional and frankly like unorganized and kind of lazy. And Gretchen is the one who's like, no, we're not going to sleep where the ocean can get at us. Like she's positioning herself well as an older member of a younger tribe. I think she's and we find out, down the line, she's not interested in making alliances, so she goes downhill. But in terms of where I would want to be on that tribe, I think Gretchen's doing a great job at like negotiating a good position for herself. Now we get to the bottoms. Doug, who is your bottom for the episode?
I just said Stacy because I was debating between Stacy and Ramona, but you know what? Ramona got a nice storyline and she got her time and she got to tell her story and she got to eat that rat. And what did Stacy ever do? Nothing. If she was just bland and I was just like, you know what? Bye. So Stacy, you're my bottom. Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
So my choice was Jervis. The reason he's my bottom, even though he'd be my top, would be that.
Hey, hands off.
Oh my God.
I currently called dibs like
Fine,
10 minutes ago.
You can have him. I'll take
Thank
another
you.
season. I'll take Colby Donald
Yeah.
every day. Okay, my bottom choice would be Jervis. I think that he kind of was he's living rent free right now. Like, it's good gameplay, but it's really bad gameplay. He literally voiced himself and was like, I'm not going home. If I was on the show with Jervis, I'd be like, you're going home now. I'm voting you out. It's like, Jervis is just, he's being like Richard and cocky, but in like a bad way. And it's like, I almost feel like it's not going to work.
Yeah. I actually said for my bottom is Rudy. I don't know. I was just like, when I was watching these episodes, I was just like, screw you, Rudy. Like, no one needs you. You're literally getting dragged along. I think the Stacy lawsuit being sort of in my mind also is like, God, they are just like, they want Rudy to happen and Rudy's never going to happen. Like, he's giving us some decent TV moments of like, wow, this is shocking that people think and speak like this, which I continue to be grateful for in future episodes. But I mean, it's just, I'm like, Rudy, like he's just not playing a game and also pissing people off, where Jervis is not playing a game and not pissing people off. So I don't know, but now we get to our hot mess express of the episode. Doug, take it away. Who was our messiest queen this episode?
My hot mess was Jervis for many of the same reasons that we've already talked about. I mean, he goes from Jeff asking who's the most comfortable and who doesn't feel like they're going to go home, and he raises his hand. And then he says, is anybody feeling vulnerable? And give Jervis credit. He's like, oh, shoot, I shouldn't have said that. Like, he at least recognized how much of like a sin it was to be like, I'm very confident. He immediately recognizes it and then says he feels vulnerable, which I don't think he actually did, but at least he made that known to kind of erase the cockiness a little bit. But yeah, Jervis is all over the place. I'm here for it. He puts the hot in hot mess, and I love it.
Love.
Hey, Josh?
My choice for hot mess is actually Miss Jenna Luscious Lewis. The reason is because she's literally the most annoying contestant in like the history of Survivor. I'm sorry, I've watched every season, so yes, I'm taking season 8 into mind. I shouldn't be. I totally shouldn't be, but I am because I hate her in All Stars. Love her. She's okay in Borneo, but All Stars like can't even go there. Which we'll get there in a couple months, everybody. You know, it's gonna
keep watching.
Keep watching and we'll eventually get to All Stars. I'm kidding. But for Jenna, I just think she's really annoying. She's loudmouth. She's kind of naive during it as well. I think the whole thing, like the main reason is that she's like trying to be Ramona's best friend and doing her makeup with the mud, and she's like basically like giving her massages, being her best friend, and then she votes her ass out and tells her it's a little too late. I'm like, that's just so shady.
I feel you there. My hot mess for this episode is going to Jeff Probst and the entire third tribal council. Conch shell of truth, you are riding the hot mess express, okay?
Yes.
Fucking sleeping at tribal council, the soggy like toilet paper that they were using to write on, Jeff not being able to read the names for the elimination, all of it was bad. It was a major failure on the part of the entire production team. Y'all made mistakes. I'm glad you learned, because the paper budget went up for episode 4. It goed up. So now though, we get to the point of our show where, Doug, we would like to play a little game with you.
Okay, I'm ready.
Josh and I will be involved in this game.
Oh no.
But this game, well, it's more of
Should
a
I be scared or concerned?
No, you shouldn't be.
Okay.
You shouldn't be.
Okay.
It's gonna be fun.
But this game is called Super Pole or Spear. So we are going to talk about a few male members of the different tribes.
Ooh.
And you're going to tell us if they are a super pole or if they're a spear. Okay.
Okay.
And just think about what that means. What does super pole and spear mean to you? You know, what is your personal connection to it?
I mean, there's only one of them that I would want up my butt. If we're using that as a definition.
Well, we're gonna get there, honey.
We're gonna get there. So our first super
okay.
pole or spear scenario is Rudy.
Oh, Rudy's a spear.
Rudy's a spear. I think, okay, so for my criteria,
I need to know what this criteria is.
No, it doesn't matter. You just have to defend your position.
Okay.
So why is Rudy a spear for you?
He's very, like, sharp-edged, and he's very, I don't know, he's just very, it's just somewhat deadly in his words that he uses, too. I feel like he's just very, I don't know.
I'm team super pole on this one. I'm team super because he's useless and he frustrates everyone who comes into contact with him.
Okay,
I have to agree with Sam. I think he's also homophobic and slightly racist, so he would be a super pole.
There's nothing that says sort of like what do they call it? Like a like the like homosexual undertones, sexual tension, and super pole. Anyway, our next super pole or spear contestant is Greg. How do you feel about Greg? Super pole or spear?
I don't know. One of you go first, and then I'll think about it. Yeah, go for it.
I think Greg is a hottie, and I kind of just like. He reminds me of one of my best friends from high school that I had a crush on during my pre-coming out days, and it's kind of sexy, honey.
During the pre-cum?
Lord, honey. There might be children watching. Bad. I think
children are not watching this far in. They
need to learn.
Here we go.
Teach the children about super poles and spears.
My choice is definitely spear. I think that he's smart. He's like a brainiac. He's also kind of hot. Not too bad on the eyes. He's kind of playing the game, so definitely spear.
I would also say spear on this one for Greg. He is a hunter, he's effective. He is sort of the de facto leader of his tribe when they are not disrespecting my girl Big Gretch. So I'm going to have to say spear on Greg as well.
All right.
I'll make it a sweep on that one. I'll give him some speariness.
Okay. What is your rationale for why Greg is a spear?
I don't know. At this point, I haven't really made too much opinion on Greg, to be honest. So that's why I'm just going to go along with you two and allow him to be a spear. That seems appropriate.
And our final contestant for the evening, our Slim Shady for Christ, Dirk.
Oh, God.
Dirk, super pole or spear?
Super pole.
Super pole.
Super pole. I'm
super pole.
I respect people's religions. I respect all religions. But you don't bring.
I don't.
You just don't. He does and he's homophobic. So you can go. You can go.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Yeah, he's worthless as a super. He's a worthless super pole for sure.
Sam. I think we can all agree on Dirk, but I do want to do one more.
Yeah.
We have to ask, Doug, one last person we're going to discuss, okay? Jervis.
Jervis can't be defined as either a Super Bowl or a sphere. Jervis is his own category of, I don't know, I guess I mean another S word.
Well, he's Super
I mean,
Bowl
it's
and
sexy.
sphere.
Yes.
He's all of the above.
He is all of the above. He's my top every week.
He's a sling.
A girl can dream.
He's just so hot.
No, Doug wants the sling.
You know what, honey? He's a Hawaiian sling. That's what he is.
Yes,
Hawaiian sling.
Yes, I am here for it.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, Doug, it has been an absolute pleasure chatting about Survivor with you today. Thank you for being a couch potato queen with us today. Do you have anything that you would like to plug before we go?
Sure, yes. You can follow me on my Instagram, which is DOFURG, and my Twitter is dugfurg, DUGFURG. I am posting thoughty pictures of myself all the time on Instagram if you're into that kind of thing.
Oh my God, I'm going to follow you now.
Yes. And then live tweeting reality shows. And I'm also a big sports fan, so if that tickles your feather, then
oh my God, she's Mask. Who
sometimes.
is she?
Yes.
Well, thank you so much again for joining us. And thank you, all of our viewers and listeners at home. It has been a thrill having you on our couch. Thank you for being a queen today.
And also, you can follow us at Couch Potato Queens. That's Couch Potato QWNZ on Twitter. Follow us.
Yep, absolutely. And Josh, as we always say, outwit, outlast,
and out gay, honey.
Bye.